Hello everyone, this is Remlays from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. For this episode, nominated on Patreon by Jason Beard, we will be taking a brief look at the world of Necromunda. This video will be a brief overview for certain events that may be explored in greater depth within additional videos in the future. So without further ado, let's begin.
Necromunda is beautiful. Script for chasing down scum and a whole playground to hunt them in. Couldn't dream of a better home.
The world of Necromunda is one of the most important and infamous planets to exist within the Imperium of Man. The world is dominated by towering cities known as hives that are separated by vast and expansive ash wastes. It is within these hives that the majority of the world's population resides, with the rich living in the peaks and spires of these gargantuan cities, while the poorer, more criminally inclined, or simply less fortunate folks congregate near the bottom or in the underhives. Despite not being a dedicated forge world, Necromunda is known for producing vast quantities of weapons and ammunition for the forces of the Astra Militarum. Not only that, but the world is also the recruitment hub for many of the Imperium's armies. Soldiers from the Necromundan Planetary Defense Force will often be inducted into one of the most famed and respected regiments of the Imperial Guard, the highly decorated Necromundan Spiders, while the youngest and toughest examples of the world's population may even be recruited into the ranks of the Imperial Fists chapter of the Adeptus Astartes. While Necromunda may be well known for its industrial output, or for supplying the Imperium with soldiers and munitions, the world is arguably more famous, or rather infamous, for its numerous gangs and deadly wildlife. Gang warfare is rife within the world's cities, with many of these gangs being allied and funded by one of the many clan houses, who battle against one another for territory, resources, respect, or due to simple distrust and hatred of one another. While the underhives of Necromunda are fraught with danger, to those who dwell upon such a seemingly inhospitable world, it is simply home.
Everyone who heads out thinks they'll find something great. Few come back unscathed, and fewer too are richer for it.
Originally known as Aranius Prime, the world that would come to be known as Necromunda was initially settled sometime around M26, with the intent of establishing a mining and manufacturing colony. The world would serve as the capital for a pre-imperial empire known as the Aranius Continuity, which was ruled over by a faction of techno-nobles known as the Iron Lords. While the Aranius Continuity would lay claim to at least 6 planetary systems, they would, in their arrogance, believe themselves to be larger and more powerful than the burgeoning Imperium of Man during the early years of the Great Crusade. The Imperial Fists Legion of the Legione Astartes would be charged with bringing the worlds of the Aranius Continuity into compliance. When the Iron Lords refused to submit to the Emperor's rule, their armies were utterly crushed by the Astartes, forcing the Iron Lords to ultimately surrender. However, shortly after the defeat of the Iron Lords, a Xenos race which many historians believe to be the Orcs would besiege the worlds of the Continuity, systematically destroying each of them in turn until only Aranius Prime remained. It is commonly believed that it was a result of this conflict that led to the creation of the world's numerous ash wastes, although some maintain that this was due to the remnants of those loyal to the Iron Lords attempting to rebel against the Imperium. Whatever the truth of the matter, the world was renamed as Necromunda, and the Imperial Fists would be granted the honor of utilizing the world for the purpose of inducting new warriors into the Legion. Despite being brought into the Imperial fold, the population of Necromunda would continue to act somewhat insubordinate to their new masters, forcing the world's planetary governors to spend over 200 years quashing various rebellions that sought to continue the legacy of the Iron Lords. A number of gang kings, who claimed to be the descendants of the Iron Lords, would attempt to seize governance of the world, with each gang king claiming to the Imperium that they were the true voice and heirs to Necromunda. While these seditious elements would be purged from the world's population following the culmination of the Horus Heresy, it would take the Imperium over 2,000 years to finally bring order to Necromunda. Because of the ever-increasing chaos upon the world, which in turn prevented the world from paying its tithes to the Adeptus Terra, the Imperial Fists would be forced to conduct a series of purges, killing many of the Gang Kings as well as the majority of the world's ruling elite. It was around this time that a common street thug named Martek Helmea would begin to amass an army of followers as they sought to end the ongoing strife upon Necromunda. Helmea's actions would result in the death or subjugation of numerous Hive Lords and Gang Kings that defied Imperial rule. As a reward for his actions in combating the rebels and allowing the world to once again pay its tithes, Helmea would be appointed as planetary governor. This would lead to the creation of a noble house which over the centuries would come to be known as House Helmore, and the house continues to serve as the rulers of Necromunda to this day. Over the course of the millennia, Necromunda would serve the Imperium as a preeminent industrial powerhouse, despite numerous Xenos invasions, cultist uprisings, and widespread outbreaks of disease, as well as biological experiments that had gone awry. By the end of M41, most of, if not all of the planet's natural resources were utterly exhausted. The planet would become extensively scarred and permanently transformed by the various forges, refineries, and mines used to fuel the Imperial war machine. Entire mountain ranges would be destroyed for their mineral wealth, while oceans would become polluted expanses of toxic sludge. The world's air would become enveloped in a toxic cloud that poisoned and suffocated those who breathed it, and the ash wastes would continue growing larger and larger, before eventually enveloping the majority of the world's surface. Despite this, life would continue on within the many hive cities scattered across Necromunda, and the world's population would learn to scavenge and recycle anything and everything that they could in order to make a living upon their bleak, dying, depressing world.
The Emperor watches over all. Do not stray from his light. The misguided shall walk upon the path once more or face his justice.
Society upon Necromunda is commonly regarded as being representative of many Imperial Hive worlds. As the world's population continued to increase into the tens of billions, any and all attempts made by the Administratum to enforce any form of central administration upon the population have proven to be impossible, with the majority of the world's ever-expanding populace continuing to remain undocumented within any official records. As a result of this, the world of Necromunda would develop a society that can best be described as being akin to a self-regulating form of urban feudalism. Much of the world's population will owe their allegiance to a particular house, with these houses being divided into noble houses, clan houses, and unofficial houses. The balance of power for many of these houses will constantly fluctuate due to events such as political marriages, economic embargoes, or weaker houses simply being destroyed and absorbed by their rivals. The noble houses include not only the ruling house of House Helmore, but also houses Catalus, Grime, Coiron, Ranlo, Tai, and Ulanti. Some of the world's noble houses, however, such as the powerful House Aranthus and the wealthy House Mung, have since become extinct. These noble houses will often dwell within the upper regions of a hive structure, which are more luxurious and better maintained than the lower reaches. The 6 main clan houses of Necromunda are houses Goliath, Escher, Dalak, Orlok, Cawdor, and Van Saar. Each of these houses have their own territories and industrial areas, where they will earn their fortune from the production and trade of weapons, ammunition, poisons, or even information, and it is to one of these clan houses that the majority of the world's hive gangs will owe their allegiance. Skirmishes between these gangs will frequently erupt along the borders of a house's territory, although bloodier conflicts are not uncommon. Indeed, the clan houses will frequently wage proxy wars against one another through these hive gangs, ensuring that industrial productivity will not be too adversely affected by any inter-house conflict. In order to ensure that some measure of order remains across the world, and to deal with even the slightest hint of sedition, local law enforcement falls to the duty of an organization known as the Palatine Enforcers. Despite being what is effectively a police force, the enforcers are equipped in a manner more akin to a military, who will react to any form of crime with a swift and brutal response. However, should any crimes be uncovered that are simply far too large in scope for the enforcers to deal with, then such matters will be dealt with by the forces of the Adeptus Arbites. Within the capital of Hive Primus, a small contingent of the Imperial Fists chapter resides within a structure known as the Spear of Dawn, whilst Hive Temenos, the world's religious capital, is home to a convent of the Adeptus Sororitas. While the numerous houses upon the world have their own industries and manufactoria in which to produce equipment and supplies, the dominant economic power upon the world is that of the Merchants Guild. Despite being referred to colloquially as the Merchants Guild, the organization is, in actuality, comprised of dozens of individual guilds, with each of these guilds being granted exclusive rights to certain resources across the world. Such guilds include the Guild of Coin, who distribute the planet's currency, the Corpse Guild, who are responsible for collecting the bodies of the dead and converting them into a food source known as corpse starch, and the Water Guild, who control the world's supply of usable water, in addition to numerous other guilds. Because of their status, wealth, and economic importance across the world, guilders are considered to be all but untouchable, and to attack or kill a member of the Merchants Guild is considered to be one of the world's greatest crimes. Those who commit crimes such as these will have bounties placed upon them, which will not only attract the attentions of hive gangs looking for an easy payday, but also professional bounty hunters. Within the decrepit, polluted depths of the Underhive, there are regions that are little more than lawless zones, where gangs of criminals, mutants, and tribes of ratskins dwell, engaged in a never-ending conflict for the sparse resources that exist at the hive bottom. Of these, the ratskins are considered by some to be some of the most peaceful denizens of the Underhive, being content to be left alone by uphivers. However, many seek to plunder the territory of ratskins due to their domains often being sites of ancient technologies known as archaeotech, which can make a man exceptionally rich. These sites, however, are sacred to the ratskins, as they are claimed to be the domains of beings known as hive spirits. Despite being a relatively peaceful people, should a ratskin tribe be attacked or discover that one of their holy sites has been defiled, then they will go upon the warpath, becoming one of the greatest dangers within the entirety of the Underhive.
There's little point in chasing gangers into the bad zones. If salvation doesn't get them first, the wildlife sure will.
Despite being a polluted hellscape, the world of Necromunda has a surprisingly diverse array of wildlife, most of it carnivorous and nearly all of it deadly. Most of these creatures reside within the depths of the Underhive, rendering the majority of the upper spires free from such dangers. The Necromundan rat is the most common species found across the world, with specimens ranging in size from a few inches to several meters in length and weighing in at several tons. Despite being seen as vermin, these rats are regularly hunted for their meat and pelts by those that reside down hive. Other creatures of note include multiple species of giant spider, from the highly aggressive wolf spider to the gargantuan bloodmare spider, which can grow to the size and weight of a Baneblade super heavy tank. The skies within the collapsing domes and vaults of the Underhive will have a number of diverse organisms soaring high above, from the bat-like shaft haunter, which can bear the weight of a fully grown man upon its back, to the highly venomous ripperjack, which hang from the rafters before gliding down upon their target, enveloping the head of their victim with their wings. Not even the toxic lakes and rivers of the Underhive can prevent life from thriving within them, as such environments can boast the presence of the large and bulky sump croc, the swift spew shark, and the massive sump devil, which can easily drag passenger ferries deep beneath the surface of the water. Necromunda is also home to a unique species of abhuman known as the Scaly. While little information exists regarding these creatures, aside from them being more prone to mutation than other abhumans, it is commonly believed that entire tribes of these creatures exist within the depths of the Underhive, although this remains to be confirmed. And that concludes this episode of 40k Lore for Newcomers. If you liked this video, consider supporting us on Patreon for more content. To those who are new to 40k, we hope you learned something. So leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.